Twilight. This is Pack 365. Myself, Srija. So today in this session, you're going to learn about ICD-10-CM coding guidelines for the external causes of morbidity. So external causes of morbidity falls under Chapter 20 of ICD-10-CM coding book. So the code series for external causes of morbidity are V00 to Y99. So first of all, what are these external causes of morbidity? So what are these external causes codes? So external cause codes do not describe the injury or disease itself. So they explain how, why, under what circumstances an injury or health condition occurred. So they supplement the main diagnosis code. For example, diagnosis is the fracture of the right femur, whereas the external cause code is fall from the stairs at home. So what is the sequencing rule for this external cause? So external cause codes, they should never be listed as the first listed or principal diagnosis. So always code the nature of injury or the condition first. For example, fracture, burn or concussion. And next, external cause code. So how the injury happened. For example, there is a fracture of femur. So it is assigned as a principal diagnosis code. S72.001A. And next, the fall on the states is the external cause, which is assigned as a secondary diagnosis code. The code is W10.9XXA. So what is the purpose of this external cause codes? So these codes, they are mainly used for injury research, public health data, accident prevention programs, and policy making and safety regulations. So they help to answer questions like, where do most accidents happen? Are injuries increasing at workplaces or roads? So what type of activities causes more injuries? So what information do these codes capture? So external cause codes provide 5 key details. The first one is cause. What happened? So fall, maybe a motor vehicle accident, maybe it is a burn, poisoning, assault, etc. And second is intent. Was it accidental or intentional? So unintentional is accidental. Intentional is maybe it's a suicide or assault. And there is the another way is undetermined intent. And third one is the place of occurrence. Where did it actually happen? Whether at home, workplace, school, road or highway or sports area. And the fourth last one is activity. So what was the patient doing at that time when an injury was happened? Maybe a working, playing sports, driving, resting or leisure activity. And at last is person status. So who was the patient? Whether the patient is a civilian, a military or student or a worker. So not all cases require all the 5 mentioned above, but they give a complete injury story. So there are mandatory reporting rules for these external causes. So there is no natural requirement in the US to report ICD-10-CM external cause codes. So reporting is not mandatory unless it is required by a state law or required by a specific payer or insurance company. So next is the voluntary reporting. So even though not mandatory, providers are encouraged to report these codes voluntarily. So they improve the injury statistics and prevention strategies. So they are helpful for community safety planning. So what are the code ranges for external causes of morbidity? So V00 to V99, they include transport accidents like car, bike, pedestrian. And W00 to X59, they include other accidental injuries by falls, burns or poisoning. And X60 to X84, they include intentional self-harm. And X85 to Y09 are for assault. Whereas Y10 to Y99 is a legal intervention, complications and unspecified events. So here are some general external cause coding guidelines. So first guideline is used with any code in the range of A00 to T188.9. So what does this really mean? So these cause codes, they are used along with the other ICD-10-CM diagnosis codes that describe a condition which is caused by an external event. So they can be used with A00.0 to T88.9, which includes diseases, injuries, poisonings, and complications. And as well as they can also be used with Z00 to Z99. So they include the factors which are influencing the health status. So external cause codes, they are never used alone. So although most commonly used for injuries, Chapter 19 S00 to TA88 external cause codes, they can also be used for non-injury conditions if an external factor caused them. So what are the examples? There is an example of the injury. So concussion, and it is fallen on the same level. So you have to assign the code for concussion and also the code for fall on the same level. And second one is external cause code used for length of the treatment. So what does this really mean? External cause codes, they must be reported for each encounter related to injury or condition. So as long as the patient is receiving the care. So this includes emergency visit, follow-up visit, rehabilitation, and treatment of the late effects, nothing but a sequela. So there is a seventh character requirement, which is a very important. So mostly chapter 20 codes require a seventh character to show the type of encounter. So A is the initial encounter, which is an active treatment, and D is for subsequent encounter, where it is a healing and recovery phase, and S is for sequela, which is a late effect. So the seventh character of the external cause code, they must match the seventh character of the injury or condition code for that encounter. For example, the initial encounter is the fracture of right radius. So you have to assign the code S52.501A for the fracture of right radius. And also the unspecified fall. The fall is not specified in the record. So you will assign the unspecified fall code, which is W19.XXXA. So changing doctors does not change the seventh character. So the encounter type depends upon the stage of treatment but not the provider. And third guideline is use the full range of external cause codes. So coders should also use all the applicable external cause codes to give a complete picture of how the injury or condition occurred. So these external cause codes, they can describe cause. So what is happened? Whether it is fall, burn or accident. So next is intent, whether it is accidental, intentional, assault or self-harm. And place of occurrence, whether it is occurred on home, road, school or workplace. And activity of the patient, whether the patient is working, driving or playing sports. And the patient status, whether he is a civilian, military, a worker or a student. So this details helps in injury surveillance and also the prevention programs. Coming to fourth guideline, assign as many external cause codes as necessary. So use multiple external cause codes if needed to fully explain the event. So you may report more than one external cause code. So do not overcode without the documentation, because if only one external cause code is allowed, so choose the one which is most directly related to the principal diagnosis. For example, a motor vehicle accident with fire. So car occupant injured in collision is assigned one code and the other code is assigned for the exposure to fire. So both explain different aspects of the same event. So this is how you have to code these external cause codes. So the fifth guideline is the selection of the appropriate external cause code. So how to choose the correct code? So selection is guided by the alphabetic index of external causes, tabular list, and inclusion and exclusion notes. So never code directly from the index alone. So you have to always verify in the tabular list. So inclusion notes, they tell you what is included, whereas exclusion notes, they tell you what not to code together. So sixth guideline is external cause code can never be a principal diagnosis. So external cause codes cannot be first listed or a principal diagnosis. They must be the injury, disease and condition being treated. So these codes, they are always the secondary or additional codes. Then combination external cause codes. So what are the combination codes? So some external cause codes describe more than one event in a single code. So they capture the sequential events that led to injury. For example, a fall resulting in striking against an object. So one combination code may describe both the fall as well as the impact. So in this case, you have to use combination codes when available. Do not assign separate codes if one combination code fully explains the event. This is the specialty of the combination codes. So sometimes an injury happens due to more than one event in a sequence. For example, a fall followed by striking an object. So when a combination external cause code exists, you have to use one code that reflects the sequence of the events. So it does not matter which event caused the most severe injury. Coding is based on what happened first, but not the severity. Here is an example. So patient slips, falls and then hits a table, causing a head injury. So use the combination code that includes fall resulting in striking against an object. So do not code fall and striking separately if a combination code exists. This is about the 7th guideline. So next, the 8th guideline is no external cause code needed in certain circumstances. So when not to use chapter 20 code. So an external cause code is not required when the cause and intent are already included in the another ICD-10-CM code. For example, so T36.0x1A code describes poisoning by penicillins, accidental and unintentional. So here the cause, the poisoning and intent, accidental, are built into the code. So do not add an extra chapter 20 external cause code. So B guideline is about place of occurrence. So what are the place of occurrence codes? So codes from Y92 category describe where the injury or condition occurred. For example, home, school, road or highway, workplace, sports area, kitchen, bedroom. So these are the secondary codes and they are used after the external cause code. So what are the key rules for Y92? So Y92 assigned only once, usually at the initial encounter. So no seventh character is used for the Y92 codes. So if a new injury occurs during hospitalization, an additional Y92 code may be assigned. So do not use Y92.9, which is unspecified place, if place is not documented or place is not applicable. There is an example, injury due to fall, and the place is bathroom at the home. So assign appropriate Y92 code for home bathroom. So this is how you code the place of occurrence. So next is activity code. So what is an activity code? Y93 codes describe what the patient was doing at the time the injury occurred. Examples like working, playing football, driving, exercising, cooking, sleeping, dancing. So you have to use to give additional context for injury research. So what are the rules for Y93 codes? So these codes, they are used as a secondary codes only and they are usually assigned at the initial encounter only. So there is no seventh character required for this Y93 code category. So you should not assign if activity is not documented and not relevant. So activity code is used only once. It is assigned only once because when the injury or condition is first treated. So only one activity code should be recorded per medical record for that event. Even if the patient has multiple follow-up visits, you should not repeat Y93. So when activity codes are not used, when they are not used, activity codes do not apply to the poisonings, adverse effects, misadventures, and sequela. So do not assign Y93.9 unspecified activity if the activity is not documented. Now, when Y93 codes, when activity codes should be used. So Y93 only if it adds some meaningful information about the event, it is used. So activity code should support and enhance the external cause code. Then only it should be used. Here is an example. A patient fractures ankle while playing a football. So injury code is ankle fracture and external causes fall during the sports. And the third is activity code as an additional code. Y93.61 activity football. So in this way, you have to assign this activity codes. So next guideline related to place of occurrence, activity and status codes used with other external cause codes. So what the section mean actually? These are supplementary and they are used with main external cause codes. So what is the sequencing rule in these cases? So when applicable, codes are sequenced as follows. The first is main external cause codes, which are from V00 to Y89 code category. And the second is place of occurrence, Y92. And the third code is activity, Y93. At last, you have to assign the external cause codes in the category Y99. So these codes, they are never listed before the main external cause code. So what are the number of codes allowed per encounter? So in most of the cases, you have to assign one place of occurrence code Y92, one activity code Y93, one status code Y99. So this rule applies regardless of how many external cause codes are used. And there is a rare exception where a new injury during hospitalization. So if a new and different injury occurs during hospitalization, so an additional place of occurrence code may be assigned for the new event. So this is rare and must be clearly documented. So if the reporting format limits the number of external cause codes, sometimes the reporting system form or pair, it allows only a limited number of external cause codes. So what is the rule 1? When only one external cause code can be reported. So you have to report the external cause code that is most closely related to the principal diagnosis. So this usually means the cause and intent of the injury. So cause or intent codes, they always have a priority over place of occurrence, activity and external cause status. Here is an example. A patient fractures leg after falling from stairs at home while cleaning. So if only one external cause code is allowed, you have to assign W10.9XXA for the fall on the stairs. But you should not report Y92 or Y93 in this case. And there is a rule 2 when additional external cause codes are allowed. So if the format permits more codes, you have to report additional cause or intent codes, including the medical misadventures. So you should not prioritize place, activity or status over the cause or intent. So cause-based details always come first. So next guideline is multiple external cause coding guidelines. So what are the multiple external cause codes needed? When they are needed? So more than one external cause code is required whenever multiple events contributed to injury or separate events caused separate injuries. So what is an example? When a patient falls from ladder, he fractures the arm. Then struck by falling the object results in the head injury. So assign an external cause code for each event. So there is a sequence in priority for multiple external cause codes. So when assigning multiple external cause codes, you have to sequence them carefully. There is a priority order. So first is child and adult abuse. So external cause codes for child or adult abuse take the highest priority. So these are always the first listed ones. You have to refer to section IC-19 for detailed abuse guidelines. So second is the terrorism related events. The external codes for terrorism take priority over all others. Exception is child or adult abuse still comes first. And third is all other external causes. So sequence is based on the cause of injury, the event sequence and the clinical relevance. So when multiple external cause codes apply, ICD-10-CM, it provides a strict order of priority for sequencing. So there's a hierarchy of the priority, highest to lowest. So first it takes place for child and adult abuse. Second is terrorism. Third is cataclysmic events. Fourth is transport accidents. Fifth is all other external causes. And at last is activity and status codes. These are always the last. So the hierarchy determines which external cause code is listed first. The cataclysmic events has a priority rule. So what are the cataclysmic events? So these are the large scale natural or environmental disorders such as earthquakes, floods, tsunamis, volcanic eruptions and hurricanes. What is the coding rule for cataclysmic events? These take priority over all the external causes except child and adult abuse as well as the terrorism. There is an example. A patient injured during an earthquake and then involved in a road accident. So the first listed external cause code will be the earthquake. So transport accident coded after the earthquake. So next, the transport accidents priority rule. So what counts as transport accidents? Motor vehicle accidents, pedestrian injuries, bicycle accidents and railway accidents. So this transport accident codes take priority over all the other external causes except child and adult abuse, terrorism and cataclysmic events. Third one is the activity and external cause status. So always coded after all cause or intent external cause codes. So they never take the priority. So this activity and external cause status, they always provide the additional context but not the causation. This is why they never take the priority and they are assigned at the last. And the fourth one is the first listed external cause code is a key principle. So the first listed external cause code should correspond to the cause of the most serious diagnosis. So they follow the priority hierarchy. They reflect whether injury was due to assault, accident and self-harm. And next guideline is regarding child and adult abuse guideline. So how abuse is classified? Child abuse, adult abuse, neglect and maltreatment, these are all classified as an assault. So this applies regardless of the age, relationship to perpetrator and type of the injury. So what are the coding rules for abuse? External cause codes. So you have to use assault external cause codes to describe how the injury has occurred. And the second case, perpetrator codes, Y07. So you have to assign a Y07 code to identify the perpetrator. So this is used in addition to the assault external cause codes. So what will be the examples of the perpetrators? Parent, spouse or partner, caregiver, acquaintance and stranger. So you have to use Y07 only when the perpetrator is known and the abuse is confirmed. So this is about child and adult abuse guidelines. So this is for today's session. I hope the session has helped you. So in the next session, you will be able to learn the continuation of Chapter 20 ICD-10-CM coding guidelines. Thank you.